Okay, a slightly simpler problem is a little bit more straightforward. We're just going to calculate the speed of an 8.0 times 10 to the 4th kilogram airliner with a kinetic energy of 1.1 times 10 to the 9th joules. Again, let's write out what we know. We know we've got the mass of this airliner, and since I'm not dealing with two objects, you don't have to put any subscripts. So I'm just going to say mass is 8.0 times 10 to the 4th kilograms. Okay, and it gives me its kinetic energy of 1.1 times 10 to the 9th joules. Okay. Now, generally, I like, if it's a small exponent like 4, I'll usually just type the converted number out instead of putting it in scientific notation in my calculator, but I think this is a good opportunity to give y'all a refresher if you don't remember how. Okay. So I'm going to keep the numbers like this. I know I've got kilograms and joules. Those are good SI units for mass and kinetic energy. Go ahead and write out the equation for kinetic energy. Okay, we'll keep the v squared in parentheses to make it a little easier to remember. Okay, and here we're going to plug in the information that we know. So we're looking for v squared. We know mass, we know kinetic energy. So I'm going to write 1.1 times 10 to the 9th joules is equal to 1/2 times 8.0 times 10 to the 4th kilograms times velocity squared, or speed squared. Okay. Again, we can divide both sides by 1/2 and 8.0 times 10 to the 4th. Okay, that's going to give us 1.1 times 10 to the 9th joules times 2 divided by 8.0 times 10 to the 4th kilograms. It's going to be equal to v squared, but to go ahead and get rid of the square, I'm going to square root, and that's just going to be equal to v. Okay. Let's go ahead, and since we're dealing with some pretty big numbers here, we'll take everything step by step. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out what my numerator would be. I'm going to take parentheses to express this number in scientific notation, 1.1. Okay. There's a little bitty EE button right here, which means times 10 to the, so I'm going to do second EE. So I'm only going to show one E on the display, and then put my exponent, 9. So 1.1 E9 is what this number would look like in most calculators. So then do that times 2. Alright, so see here, it gives me a bunch of zeros. I'm actually not going to have my calculator convert that for me. I'm going to show you how to fix this yourself. Okay, so this is, I'm going to put it back in scientific notation, so that's 2.2. Okay, in order to find the times 10 to the, okay, so you always want one digit, then a decimal, so I'm going to take that first digit, decimal, and then the next digits until I have zeros. Okay, I need to count how many times I need to move this decimal to the right to end up with this number here. So if it starts here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's times 10 to the 9th. Okay, and this is still going to be joules. Okay, and it's still divided by 8.0 times 10 to the 4th kilograms. Since this number is already in my display, I'm just going to take that number there and say divided by, and put in my 8.0 times 10 to the 4th. So parentheses, 8.0, still have to do the EE 4. Okay. So now I've got the square root of 27,500 for my velocity. Now I've got to square root it to get my actual velocity. Okay, and it's got 166 meters per second.